So this is another revision resource that I gave to my students. In this particular one, this is for my year 12 students, my AS students. And what I wanted to do basically was to create this interactive resource for an internal test that we were going to be taking. And the whole approach to this was that I needed to create a revision resource that was more based around the topics that we've been studying for this term. So as you can see here, that I've got the individual topics that we've gone through. And all of this is really based around a test that my students were going to take in June. So this is the test here. So rather than giving them a revision sheet, YouTube links, OneNote pages, whatever else, I wanted to do something that was a little bit more directly linked to the spec, which is here, and especially with these topic codes that we've been working with. Ideally, also, I wanted to bring AI into this process. So this harks back to the data that I've used for this particular test. So again, what I've got is a spreadsheet that contains questions from a particular test. In this case, it's an AS test. I've got the questions here. I've got the type of questions, the answers obviously. But more importantly, I've got this examiner report. And the biggest part about the spreadsheet is the topic codes, because this is what the AI is going to be using to separate all these, this data into individual areas. One other area that I wanted to use this spreadsheet for was to anticipate like common errors that students might have or problems when they answer these individual questions. This is where the principal examiner report will be handy, because this will identify areas that the students nationwide had issues with during this particular exam. So once I had the data exported out as a CSV file, which I highly recommend using, I then uploaded it onto my AI, and then I asked it to organize these by content. So as you can see over here, I've got topic code 1.3, 1.4, and so on and so on. I really like this idea because what it does is it allows a student to open up a certain topic and that they can read through this and revise these individual areas. What I also really liked about this was that it separated out area study of 1 with area study of 2. So again, the benefit of this is that if a student wanted to dive further into a certain area, a certain topic, that this would allow them to do so. In each one of these topics, what's actually inside of this. So if I now open this up, this is an example for 1.3 synthesis. Notice how it's given a brief outline about what this actually is. It's given key concepts, a visual aid. So this visual aid is quite cool. I do find that there are some students who do a lot better with visuals than they do with reading examples. And then finally, this area is where it really takes off. So the testing of your knowledge, what I wanted to do was basically to have 3 different stages or levels of this, a beginners, an intermediate, and then an advanced. The purpose of this really was that I wanted the students to have different levels that they could revise on. So what this will do is basically it'll give them a question, and again this is all based around the level that they're at. It'll show this answer, and again what's quite important here is that this is just going to show them an example of what they could be asked about on this test. And then finally, if they wanted to have another question, if they wanted this resource to suggest other areas that they could potentially revise for, they can click on this. And basically what this button is this is going to access the API within Google, and then it'll create another test question. So as you can see, when I clicked on ask another question, it just then brought up this. It also brought up this model answer. So what I also like about this is that my students aren't just reading, for example, these key concepts. What they're actually doing is that they're interacting with this. And I think that this is an area that that students are going to be more interested in, and hopefully more able to digest content. So the final thing that I want to get into is how my students responded to this. Obviously, it was very, very positive. They liked the idea that they can go into each one of these topics. They like the idea that they can then test this knowledge, and then also that they have these different levels. The visuals helped out a lot with students. They liked how easy everything was to find in this revision resource. And again, in this age of AI, they really enjoyed this idea that they could ask another question and that they could either copy and paste this information into another AI or do like a screenshot on any topics that they might need a little bit more help with.